Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to, a film review. Haven't done one of these for a while, so feeling a little bit rusty, feeling a little bit kind of, we'll see how it goes. 28 years later. Yeah, that just got released and watched it a couple of days ago. And I've got some thoughts, and this is probably the reason why I'm doing one of these type of videos that I haven't done for quite a while. Because I got into the kind of groove of doing indie horror games, and that's been great. I love that kind of genre. I love the kind of games that are out there. But sometimes it gets a bit stagnated with the same type of games. So I was really looking forward to 28 years later. And it came out. And I left the movie theater going, okay, there's some pros and there's some cons. This is just going to be spoiler review. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend you go and see it. It is a good film. Bottom line, it's a good film. But there are some things going on that were definitely a choice. So here we are, Danny Boyle, Alex Garland, back in the reins from 28 days later. Now, say what you will about 28 weeks later. You know what? I didn't think that was a bad film. Does it have flaws? Yes. Should it have focused more on the Robert Carlyle deception of the wife? Because that, I think through time, we've kind of seen that Robert Carlyle's a man, he's just a man in the moment. He had a choice to make. He went out the window. Was it forget about self-sacrifice, he just wants to save himself? Yeah, that's not a kind of concept that we kind of delve into much in these, a lot of type of films like this. So I would like to have seen more of that rather than just him getting infected. We don't know whether Alice, his wife, when she finally gets... Anyway, I'm digressing. We're talking about 28 years later. Forget 28 weeks later for now. Okay, so the film opens. They're on this island, and they've survived by basically going back to manual labor, farming, hunting, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, and Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, is taking his son, who's 12 years old, Spike, into the realm of the land, because there's one causeway that takes their island, that separates them from the island. The UK has been sectioned off. It's been quarantined. There are boats going around the island, supposedly on a kind of 24-hour basis, I guess. Different areas of the continents have got boats making sure that no one gets off the island. UK has been quarantined. So this film does come out a little bit, with the kind of whole COVID stuff. Everyone in the world was affected by being quarantined in their own house. So I think that film is trying to get sort of germinations from that. It's not nothing really in the main scope of things, but hey, there you go. Anywho, Jamie, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, he's a Geordie. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're not from the UK, for Americans, the Geordie accent, you'll detect it. It's not thick. You don't have to put on the subtitles just yet, but it's there, and I like that. I appreciate that. In horror games like Still Waits Deep sort of thing, they go with the Scottish one. It's a very thick Scottish accent. I like the fact in this time that they're bringing back thick accents. I like that, and we should do more of that. Anywho, I'm digressing again. Yes, Jamie has taken his son into the infected zone, which is basically the whole of the UK, to make him a man. Hey, boy, you're going to be a man now. I'm going to take you out there. You're going to kill some Zambinos. No, sorry, they're not zombies. They're infected. They are people with illnesses. And there are people with illnesses in the world, and we should treat them as they should be treated. That didn't come out the right way. What I meant was they should be treated with care and loving and tenderness, but not having arrows shot to their face. Anyway, they go out. Basically, the point of this mission is to get Spike to get his first kill. Because as a 12-year-old, nothing says manlyhood better than getting a bow and arrow and sticking it through the eyeball of an infected. Wish my dad had taken me out to do that. I'll throw a ball. Been there for my 5th birthday. So there's two halves of this movie. One half is Spike and Jamie, and then Spike with his mother, Isla, played by Jodie Comer. And at the very beginning of this movie, we find out that Jodie Comer has an illness. We don't really know what it is. When I first saw her, I thought that she had dementia or some kind of scheme, because it's almost like a bipolar disorder that she has. She's kind of okay one moment in the scene right there. Next, she's like regressing 20 odd years or something like that. So it's never really said. It's left to your own judgment as to what's going on. At first, I thought dementia. But then later on, we find out what's going on. So basically, Jamie and the son, Spike, go out. There's some real tension here. Like, the film does, in the first half, the tension is palpable. The tension is edge of your seat, white knuckle ride. Because the infected are still there. They kind of explain why the infected haven't starved or anything like that. And we get our first kind of process of like seeing the different types of infected. For example, the first one that they come across is this like kind of very chubby, rotund type character crawling on the grass, just like getting worms. And apparently that's all this infected person can do, is crawl around and just get grass. So it's an easy pickings, right? So the dad's like, hey, son, this is the one for you. It's like wounded Bambi coming along. Get the arrow out. And the son, Spike, is, wrestling with the thought of, it's taking it back to that kind of, I can only imagine a kind of scene where a dad takes his son out for the first time to kill a deer or something, going hunting properly. And the son may have questions about why we're doing this, because, we need the meat and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's the same type of symbolism going on here. And Spike takes the arrow, shoots it straight in the neck. The blood and the gore are all here. It's great. It's great to see it. But they get sort of chased by the ones into this kind of barn where they then sort of have to kind of stay for the night. And obviously the causeway, as you know, with tides and the way that the water and the moon, the rises and all that kind of stuff, then they can't get back that evening. And they come across an alpha. Now, an alpha is like a big hulking, you've probably seen it in the trailer, big hulking guy. And this alpha basically controls all the other inferior type infected by just going, and they all go off and whatnot, sort of thing. So there's a really thrilling chase when they're going towards the causeway back to the encampment, because they, Spike's had his kills and all that kind of stuff. The second half of the movie then diverts to Spike and his mother. And this is the more kind of emotional. I said that this is a family movie. This is meant to be a trilogy of movies. So this is the first one, and this is meant to center around family. So then we basically find out whilst Jamie and Spike were in the wilderness, Jamie saw like a campfire going on. He's like, oh, what's that, Dad? And the dad like playing, it's nothing, don't worry about it. When he comes home, he starts to learn a few home truths, and he kind of like thinks that, this parental figure isn't godly like, is the best way I can describe it. And I think that's a real good coming of age type of thing. There's a lot of cares going on here. There's a lot of different features that I think Danny Boyle has taken into this. And one of those is the fact that, when Spike comes back, he realizes his father isn't the kind of man he thought he was. So he kind of pulls into the kind of Jodie Comer having an illness. And he knows now that there's a doctor on the mainland, played by Ralph Fiennes, who you've seen in the trailer. But he could be crazy. Could be like this absolute horror show of a person, because we don't know what he's doing, but he's been living in the UK-infested land for like the last 28 years. So, Anywho, he elaborates a scheme to get his mother out into the mainland, and they go and see this doctor. And the doctor is literally building a whole place of dead bodies. He's burning them, putting them to the fire so that the skulls are nice and clean, and building pyramids and little effigies and totem poles because he respects the dead. He used to be a doctor. I think this could be a redemptive arc for him. We don't really go into it too much about his character. He puts iodine on him because he says the infected don't like that, and that's how he's been able to survive for like the last 28 years. Fine, okay, not too bad. But Also, there are a lot of plot holes in the story, and we'll get to that in a bit. So we find out that Jodie Comer has cancer, and it's possibly brain cancer. He doesn't have the skills or equipment there to kind of tell her for certain, but he's been a doctor for so XYZ amount of years. He can tell that this is cancer, probably from the brain. That's why she's been having hallucinations and all this kind of stuff, and blah 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 blah. And so she kind of just willingly goes out into he has this little harpoon gun thing where it's like, because there's a moment where another alpha comes across Jodie Comer and Spike, Isla and Spike, and he kind of just like goes, and the alpha just goes, little drool coming out of the mouth. He's like, okay, we're just going to walk away now. He's obviously someone that's been around a bit. He knows the way to land. So yeah, now Spike goes through this kind of narrative arc of kind of, I think the whole point was that he's a scared little kid at the beginning who can't really do the arrow. He doesn't want to kill anyone, to like seeing his mother die. And there's also a birth scene with an infected zombie, which we'll get into in a bit, sort of thing. But yeah, so long story short, Spike basically decides to go off into the wilderness, be like Mad Max. He's gonna do it on his own. He's got the oomph, the gumption to do this. And then we have the ending. But we'll get to that in a second. What I want to talk about is the editing in this is really frantic, really fast paced. As I said, the first half is really, really frantic. There are some scenes that have you like clutching. You're clutching the arm rails. The arm rails? What's an arm rail? The seats of your chair, whatever. I don't know. If you're in a cinema, I don't know what you're doing. There are moments like that. In the second half, it kind of calms down a bit. And what they do is kind of put the tension back up, is they throw in these like soldiers who come out of nowhere. In kind of like third act, these soldiers come in and we're introduced to like a character called Erik, who's Swedish, and he doesn't want to be there, but he's got the kind of sense of he knows basically the internet and stuff. There's points where he is basically mocking the kid a little bit by going like, oh, you don't know what the internet is? There's a scene where he goes, oh, this is my fiance, and he gives him a phone. The kid doesn't know what a phone is. He's never seen a phone in his life, and he just sees this caricature of, well, I say caricature, you know, a lot of people do like Botox, like the lips are like that and all that kind of stuff, and the kid's like, why is her face weird? And Erik goes, what do you mean? She's beautiful. And he's like, well, we had someone who had like allergic to shellfish once, and they had the same thing. There's like some weird comedic elements to it when this new character comes in, which I didn't think was really kind of befitting the whole what we've been led up to so far. So far, it's been this kind of like tension filled thing, and then when the soldier Erik comes in, it becomes this weird, almost like humorous moments. Yeah, he doesn't live long anyway. He's probably in it for about 20 minutes. And there's only one thing that, you know, when there's like moments that like drag you out of a movie, and for me, it's fake heads. Fake heads. I can't. When I see a fake head in a movie, like someone's just been decapitated, and you have the movie prop fake head, it always looks like a fake head. So to see like characters like pick up a head, and this head is carried around for quite a bit, and it's just, you can just say it's like this kind of plastic head with some vertebrae coming out. It's kind of like, it's like maybe steer away from showing the head so much. I don't know what it is. Is it just me? Is it just me with fake heads? Like, if you want to get like there's animatronics and stuff like that you can, even if like you have a tongue lolling out of the side or something. I don't know what it is, but this fake head just sort of like zoomed me out of the movie a lot here. And it was, yeah, it was sort of then, that's when things were starting to go off into a weird Alice in Wonderland type of scenario. And what I mean by that is, so at the end, hang on, I haven't even talked about the zombie baby yet. Yeah. So there's a point where we see a load of infected, and one of them's heavily pregnant. And Jodie Comer comes along this sort of train line, and she sees an infected there who's in the middle of a carriage going, blah, making all the kind of noises and stuff. And she's giving birth. And Jodie Comer's like, hold on. Hey. Safe hands. And this infected is like, from what we've known, from why would now an infected suddenly turn placid? Is all I'm saying. I don't understand. I don't understand. That didn't make any sense to me. Because she's giving birth, the rage has left her mind. Perhaps, don't know. It's something we haven't explored yet, and I'm always up for, with franchises like this, like the Alien franchise, like the Predator franchise. I'm always up for new things, but this just seems jumping the shark a little bit to me. So this infected person they're doing like the arms, they clutch hands while she's giving birth, and they give birth to a newborn babe who's not infected, because apparently the placenta is a safe zone for babies. There's a point where, to kind of reiterate this, they're talking to the doctor, finds his character, and they go like, he's like, the placenta. I always knew the placenta could be that kind of safeguard in case any infected woman got pregnant. And you're like, oh, really? Okay. Is there any science here? By that point, you're rolling with it. So this baby's not infected. Spike now is in charge of this baby. The alpha comes back. There's a bit of a scene. Anyway, he comes back to the island. He hangs the baby up outside the door, like, take care of this, leaves a note for his dad. And he's basically saying, I'm going off into the wilderness. I need to find myself. I'm doing the kind of, I need to get some bone broth, and I need to go into the hills, and I need to kind of like just chill out and meditate for a bit. I don't know. He gets ambushed by a lot of infected, and like, yeah, he's taking them off, but then he gets cornered and he's about to be overrun. And then this guy who turns up, who from the intro was a child from the intro anyway, but dressed in like this, like Jimmy Savile gear is what it is. And he goes, you're having a bit of problems there, are you? We see they're coming for you. Would you allow us to, like the cavalry, would you like us to kind of take care of this? It's like, sure. And then you got like, my first thing was, I thought Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. You know the Kung Fu priest? When he's like, I kick ass for the Lord. That's exactly what this scene is. It's so tonally different from everything else in the film that I was just a bit boggled. I was like, what's going on here? Because you have this guy turning up, and he's got like this jewelry. He's got like the kind of Jimmy Savile Adidas tracksuit type things going on. And then all these people come up behind him, like, and they're all got like hockey sticks with knives on them and stuff. And they're like Power Rangers. They're like, it's morphin' time, and they jump off, and they're doing, like, literally doing backflips and stuff. They film them doing backflips as they're taking out the infected, and they've got these like weird, like, garroting system things going on. It just seemed a bit. I know this is meant to be a trilogy, and apparently the sequel's to be coming out in January, not directed by Danny Boyle, but by the director of Ironheart, and it's going to be Marvel-esque, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't feel good, but I don't know. This seems like one of those kind of Rian Johnson things where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want at the end of this and see how you go with it. See you on the next one. I'll see you on the third one. Bye. I don't know. It was just so weird. This ending. It felt really out of place. And it feels like a kind of blooper reel. If I'm completely honest, it felt like a blooper reel. It felt like, hey, we're going to just film it. We filmed, yeah. We've got the main shots now. We're just going to film this for like shits and giggles. We'll put this on, man. But it made it into the final film. That's how it felt to me. Going to do something a little bit different. And what I'm going to take is go on the IMDb and see what people have said. I've got to say, the kid in this film was good, you know, when Alfie Williams, when he needed to bring the emotion, he brought it. When he needed to bring the kind of I'm just a kid, I don't know what I'm doing, he did. Aaron Taylor Johnson as well, I think, brought that kind of masculinity of that kind of father figure who's just trying to look out for his son, trying to make his son the be all and end all. I appreciate that as well. And Jodie Comer as well. Like, wow, the cast in this are really good at what they do, and not for one moment are you going to be thinking, this is a bit weird. For me, it was just thematically what was going on didn't resonate with a lot of what had been presented to us. So, for example, as I said, like the first half, very tense, very like you feel like when they leave the island, the safety of their island that they're in, and they go to the mainland, you do feel that they are in uncharted territory and anything could happen. Then the second half of the movie is the son and the mother, and it's more somber. It's a little more. So the acting is, in my opinion, superb. But let's go to what people think. Extremely disappointing. The trailer was masterful. Made us all want to see the movie. I have to agree with that. With the Rudyard Kipling poem, Boots, Boots, which is in the film. And the sound, by the way, the sound effects in this are great. Not just the soundtrack, as any 28 Days Later type franchise is. It's really good, but like the Foley work in this is amazing. The actual movie was an absolute mess. So many little ideas that got absolute nowhere. So you cover yourself with iodine and the infected leave you alone. But never mind, that goes nowhere. True, the doctor is like, but I think that's not really a massive thing. I did think there was one point where Jodie Comer's character Isla and Spike, they stay the night with the doctor, and it just looks like they're camping out in the forest. And it's like, okay, you've covered yourself, but you haven't offered to cover them. Like, is that a thing? That I think that was like a red herring where they're trying to make out that the doctor may not be as helpful as he's making himself to be. But okay. The new alpha types are smart and fast, but what are they in the movie? Huge pile of bones and the skulls, but why? I guess it's symbolic, artistic. No, I think that's more the kind of character. Like, he's obviously decided that he can't help people anymore, so he's going to help the dead. That's what I took away from it. And the band of weird merry misfits at the end, right out of A Clockwork Orange, was so out of place and such an obvious opening to an undeserved sequel, it was pathetic. Yeah, I don't really understand where they're going to go with these Jimmy Savile type people. 1 out of 10. This movie simply shouldn't be. It's a mix of awful, very poorly thought out script and bizarre spliced in footage and audio from other... Right, so there are points in the movie where we see people... I don't know the movies off the top of my head, but like they've spliced in old movies where people are like doing archery and stuff. And I think that's just to kind of get across the point that these people have had to revert back to the old ways of things. I didn't mind it that much. I didn't think it was that bothersome. I was dumbfounded throughout the film to the point I found myself looking around and wondering if other people were as incredulous as I was. I literally mouthed "what" so many times I considered walking out repeatedly. Other things I hate about the film. Unnecessary full frontal nudity. Well, they've been infected for 28 years. I don't think their clothes would have survived that. There are certain infected that have items of clothing, like loincloth type things. There is some, by the way, there is some like full flappage penis in your face. There's some flappy pee-pee right in your face there. Gory replays a zombie kill. Yeah, this is what I was saying. So they do the camera thing where when someone gets shot by an arrow, they do the kind of like, it's not quite bullet time, but it's kind of like there'll be a shot where they do the arrow and it goes in the head and then it goes whoop. I did find that a bit jarring, to be honest with you. I did find it was like, I don't know why we're doing this kind of stuff in 2025. Like, you don't need it. Like, there are many other shots where the people come out and they're just doing the arrows and they just fall down because they've been taught to shoot in the head, in the chest. And there's a scene where Spike misses a shot and hits one of them in the leg, and his dad chastises him and says, like, head and heart. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but I didn't really understand the whole like, and they go down. It just kind of once again dragged me out of the scene, if you will. Yeah. The doctor walking away with the mum toward the end of the movie and coming back with a skull was just the last straw. I was ready to throw something at the screen. You're suggesting she willingly says, hey, kill me, instead of letting me spend time with my child and incinerate the body? Well, they have a scene where the doctor quite plainly says, like, you love your mother, you love her, and she says yes, and he says yes, and he knew what was going to happen. She was going to die, so why not have it there I like the kind of family element to this, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So there you go, guys. The review of 28 Years Later. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like or dislike the video. And if you're new here and you're liking the... there's a fly in this room. I'm sorry, it's a fruit fly. Got to get my zombie alpha male. Gone. Anyway, but if you have liked this, then please think about subscribing. It makes the channel grow, and I appreciate it greatly. I'll see you in the next one. Stay ghoulish. Bye.